After 2 years of happy ownership experience with my bike, let's start with the looks of it. So, at the first glance, you would definitely say that this is a head turning bike, especially for the kids, because they are crazy, man. And from this glance, you'll say that it's kind of a fat looking bike, not like a road bike or something. It's more of an MTB. It's not a true MTB, sure. This is the side view of the bike. The paint all of are very well laid out. I like how they have given the branding. So enough of these slideshows. Let's see it in flesh. I'm sorry for the change of the background, the whole location, because the sun set, so I cannot be filming outside. The quality will be garbage. So I'd now like to talk about the things which I don't like about the bike, which I wish that could have been a lot better. And the one that actually bombed me were those two rims. These are not the ones which came with the bike. Actually, after buying the bike within 2-3 months, I kind of had an accident which broke both these rims. An accident meaning that a pulsar squid, as you know, came and hit me in the back of my cycle and on the back tire. Actually, the tire burst open, which cracked the whole thing on the back. And at the same day I applied too much air pressure on the front, so the front was my fault. It burst, which caused the front rim to also go kaput. So I was forced to pay 1500 for both these rims, which is quite expensive. But actually I'd say that this was the time after these new rims came, was the time which I really started to like about my bike. So that was the first point which annoyed me a lot. Build quality, overall build quality is kind of disappointing. There is rust everywhere. I think you can see rust here. My camera, let me focus my camera. Yeah, I think you can see a lot of rust here and there. And these wires have cracked open and kind of damage this paint whenever you turn your ride. And these discs are of poor build quality, and these calipers and brake pads are kind of lower than Chinese. I think you can get what I am saying. And as you can see, this crank is also another criminal. This thing kind of starts jiggling around within a month of use. So every month, once or twice, it will start to jiggle around and you have to tighten it. I think it's a design fault, I really don't know. So the same thing applies with the back disc, because again both the caliper and the disc are of quite poor build quality. And we have the mudguard, which is decent but not of good build quality. And as you can see, there are a lot of rust as these things go up and down. I gained a lot of height within the 2 years, so I had to move it up a bit. So that's the first point which I don't like about my bike. The second point which I didn't like about the bike is high speed stability. I really think that high speed means my 40 to 50 kilometers per hour down a bridge. If you're going, you feel really nervous, which I felt to be a bit more on this ride. Of course, cycles are very thin compared to bikes and scooters, so you automatically feel a kind of fear riding at higher speeds, because you would think that you lose, because all of the control is in your hand right in front of you, so it's kind of a lot demanding onto you. But with this bike, I thought high speed stability is completely garbage. So you can cruise, but under 40 kilometers per hour you can cruise actually. So in my future vlogs, which I'll be doing, of course, I'll ride here from my house to Marina Beach, which is kind of close to 12 kilometers. I'll show you how the bike performs in high speed stability. So that's the second thing which I did not like about my bike. The third thing which I did not like about my bike, which is also a fault in most of cycles, is that the cornering clearance. I think, as you know, thin tires kind of are pretty fun in corners. They are dangerous. They are dangerous. They are kind of, you feel very happy when you have accomplished the corner. But the cornering clearance, especially when your pedal is completely down like this, is too low. So if you do like this, you will kind of touch the ground, as you can see, and it will cause a potential crash and will hurt you by a lot. And the bike is, and mind you, the bike is not very angled at all. It's like kind of, if it just is straight like this, that's it, not like this. Okay, so that's also quite a thing which was disappointing, but which can be fixed by letting your pedal like this sideways, so you have a ton of more ground clearance. So it's kind of a workaround but not a proper fix. So while you're cornering, just make sure you don't pedal, because it's just too dangerous. If this thing touches the ground, you're done, man. I'm telling you, especially at high speeds, you will just lose control and crash. That's it. And the fourth thing which I don't like about my bike and which annoys me, another one of the most, are the brakes. So as I said earlier, these things are of pretty poor build quality. So as in Chennai, the roads are not quite good, especially in my area. So the impact touches here. So as you ride, your bad roads, the impact is here. It's passed on to the rim and while to the spokes and to the hub. And actually it's kind of goes to the suspension for what it is. but as it has to go here, it has to pass through the disc. So as it passes through the disc is also the disc also gets a bit bent. So what happens when it gets bent is, I'll show you that. I can't really show you here, but I'll show you that this is your caliper, as you can see. With the inside that caliper, if the disc is bent, it will start to rub in your caliper by a bit unnecessarily. And by this I mean it's kind of a cancer of bikes, you know. So when it starts to rub, it causes a lot of problems, you know. It introduces a lot of new problems, and the main one is which that your calipers will get damaged, and your brake pads will start to fade really quickly, and your disc will start to have small patch marks. Let me hope that this camera focus. Yeah, as you can see, there are small lines, you know. Actually it's quite normal, but this is a bit excessive, especially here. As you can see, this is caused by a bent disc unnecessarily rubbing the brake pads. Also, most of the time it causes a noise, but sometimes it does not cause a noise and goes unnoticed. But definitely when you're riding it, you'll feel tired because you're kind of acting against friction. So the bike slows down, it's a lot inefficient, and the worst part is that it affects both the brakes. As both these discs and calipers are similar in quality, both of these things get bent, and the one which get most bent is the rear wheel, because most of the weight is here. As I sit on top, most of the weight is transferred to the rear, so the rear disc gets bent and causes a whole lot of problems. So this is the fourth point which I didn't like about my bike. The fourth point which I did not like about my bike is the braking action. So it kind of involves with the brake, so I can say that it's a 3.5 point. So I'll start with the front brake. So as you can see, this is the action of the front brake. It can go all the way until here, and the bike will still keep moving. I mean, the front tire will still keep moving. That's just garbage, I tell you. But in the rear brake, as I've tuned it properly, actually I tried tuning the front brake, but that's just garbage, guys. I was not able to accomplish anything. But with the rear brake, as I'm coming to tell you, this is the action. This is the maximum action it can. I mean, I can press more. So if I press more, the wheels will get locked up, and the bike will start to drift. And as you know, if you are being a squid, drifting is fun. But I'm just joking. If you want to be a responsible rider, I mean a biker or a cyclist, drifting is pretty bad actually, if you ask me, because you lose a lot of control to your bike. As the rear wheels start to lock up, this is why ABS is important, and my cycle does not have ABS, of course. So that's also a major minus point. But the rear disc actually saved my life quite a lot of times because of its swift action. I hope the front was also pretty nice like this. So that's the fourth point which I did not like about my bike. The fifth and last point which I did not like about my bike is the derailleurs. Derailleur means this derailleur. It actually does its job, but not very smoothly, causes a lot of noise, and sometimes, as you know, this is the lowest crank. As the derailleur is not in its position, sometimes this chain slips and falls in between this layer. So it's really hard for me to get it. So sometimes my hand is all greasy, and it's very, very annoying at times. But most of the times, as I love to tinker with my bike, it's fine. And it applies to even the rear derailleur too. I tried to tune this, but I'll do it again. So it needs frequent tuning. Otherwise, this is your first and this is your 7th gear. So as you shift your gears, it is not properly falling into place on these sprockets. Especially downshifting is a major problem, as if I am going to downshift from 2nd to 1st, it will cause a lot of noise and will not shift to 1st. But if I shift from 3rd to 1st, it will shift properly immediately. So those are the small problems, which is kind of okay with this Chinese unit. So what can we say? I'm quite happy with what I have, but I'll definitely keep tinkering with it and try to make it better. So that's the fifth and final point which I did not like about my bike. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. This is a very new channel of mine and as a hobby. So I'd love you guys to support me by subscribing, liking, and commenting. You can dislike the video if you can, but as you dislike, please give me a comment on how I can improve my creation, my presentation, and stuff like that. So this is Bratty Biker saying bye. Take care. All of you have a nice day or a nice evening or a nice night. Take care of your health. Stay healthy. Ride safe. Thank you. Bye.